Crows, Strange and Wonderful by Laurence Pringle. Illustrated by Bob Marstall. Title page. Caw, caw, caw. A crow's voice is bold and sassy. Almost everyone has heard it. We know crows by their calls. We know them by their large size. They are about 20 inches long and by their glossy black feathers. Crows are not plain black, though. If you get close to a crow, you may see glints of deep blue and purple on its feathers. Crows are often seen and heard, but to most people, they are birds of mystery. It's not easy to get close to crows. They are smart. They know that humans are sometimes their enemies. They manage to find safe places to raise their young, and they find food where millions of people live. You can often see crows hunting for food alongside roads, in parking lots and city parks, and on suburban lawns. The crow you have most seen likely is the American or common crow. It lives in parts of every state except Hawaii and far north in Canada. The common crow has relatives all over the world. Its bird family, the Corvidae, includes rooks, jackdaws, magpies, and jays. A smaller crow, the fish crow, lives in states along the Atlantic coast and the Gulf of Mexico. Instead of caw, caw, it calls out caw, caw. The largest member of the crow family is the common raven, a great dark bird of the far north and of rugged mountaintops. Its call is a low, hoarse quark, quark. There is nothing common about the common raven and the common crow. The raven may be the smartest of all birds, as intelligent as a monkey. Other members of the crow family also have highly developed brains. Crows show their intelligence in many ways. They are playful. Young crows may play tug-of-war with a twig. They swing upside down on tree branches. Sometimes a crow flies into the air with a stick in its beak, then drops it and swoops down to catch the stick before it hits the ground. It's sort of playing. Crows tease other animals. Sometimes a crow gives a playful nip to the tail of a dog or other animal, then flies out of reach. Crows also mimic the calls of other birds. They imitate all sorts of other sounds: a squeaky door, a puppy's yelp, a cat's meow. Tame crows can be taught to say such words as hello, goodbye, and hot dog. Crows have a complex language. They make at least 25 different sounds. Besides cawing in many ways, they growl, squawk, squeal, coo, and rattle. By calling in different ways, a crow can identify itself to other crows, keep in touch with them, and say things to them. A crow calling "caw-caw, caw-caw, caw-caw" warns other crows to stay out of its territory. Calling "caw, caw, caw" in in a certain way warns other crows of danger. Stay away! Calling caw, caw, caw in a different way has another meaning. For example, a series of quick, hoarse, drawn-out caws is the assembly call that urges other crows to come quickly. At mating time in the spring, the male crow makes cooing and rattling sounds to its mate. They swoop and soar together in the sky. Soon the pair begins to build a nest for the female's eggs. It is usually high in a tall tree where it is well hidden. A crow's nest is made of big and little twigs, strips of bark from grapevines, grasses, and rootlets. While building the nest, the older mated crows are helped by young crows that were born a year or two earlier. They are all part of a close and cooperative crow family that may number a dozen birds. The father and the young helpers bring food for the mother crow while she warms the eggs. After the eggs hatch, the father and helpers bring food for the baby crows. The older brothers and sisters also help guard the nest. This is where crows are born with blue eyes that gradually turn black as the birds become adults. Crows are always alert for animals that might be dangerous. They make scolding calls when a cat walks on the forest floor beneath their nest. But crows are most concerned about raccoons, foxes, large hawks, and large owls. After dark, great horned owls swoop through forests on silent wings, sometimes killing sleeping crows for food. When a crow spies a great horned owl in the daytime, it gives the assembly call. Every crow within hearing distance hurries in, and a wild crow rumpus called mobbing begins. Cawing excitedly, dozens of crows perch or fly near the owl. Some crows may dart in to peck at its back. If the owl moves on its branch, the crow clamor grows louder. If the owl flies, trying to reach a safer hiding place, the crows become a roaring black cloud in pursuit. Crows themselves are often mobbed by smaller birds, especially during summer nesting time. Blackbirds, kingbirds, and others sometimes chase crows because crows hunt for their nests and eat eggs and nestlings. Throughout the seasons, a crow eats any kind of food it can find. In the spring, it may walk. Crows do not hop as most birds do through a farmer's field. It grabs insects and worms and sometimes plucks out newly sprouted corn seedlings. In the summer, it may probe its beak beneath the leaves on the ground for earthworms. In the winter, it may search for waste grain left in fields after harvest. Crows can also eat mice, snakes, insects, fruit, and animals killed by cars. They eat food people have thrown away, using their strong beaks to rip open plastic garbage bags. In one day, a crow's diet might include berries, pizza, snails, grasshoppers, and some tasty morsels from a dead possum. Crows get food in clever ways. To eat shellfish such as clams and mussels, Crows carry them aloft and drop them onto rocks or other hard surfaces. The shells crack open, and the crows eat the delicious flesh inside. Small crows that live on the New Caledonia Islands east of Australia make tools of twigs. The crow beaks a twig off a tree in a way that leaves a hook on the twig's end. The crow then inserts the hooked end into a hole in a tree and snags insects with it. These New Caledonia crows store their tools in safe places and use them again and again. Wow, I didn't know that. On one occasion, some crows watched fishermen pull fish up through holes cut in the ice. When some fishing lines were left unattended, the crows pulled the lines out of the water and ate the bait or fish they found on the fish hooks. As winter approaches, crows may fly just a few hundred miles south or not migrate at all. Each winter night, thousands of crows gather to sleep in a grove of trees. By day, the crows may fly as far as 20 miles in search of food. At day's end, streams of crows can be seen hurrying home to their special winter roosting place. Here they go. People living near a crow's roost complain about their noisy neighbors and the birds' droppings. Crows can be pests in other ways too. Even one crow can damage a vegetable garden, and a large flock of crows can harm wheat, corn, and other farm crops. Over the span of a year, however, crows eat many insects that harm crops, including wireworms, grasshoppers, cutworms, and weevils. Crows pluck beetle grubs, larvae, from the soil of lawns. Sometimes crows perch on corn stalks and peck at the tops of ripening ears of corn. They eat some corn, but they also eat corn earworms, insect larvae that have harmed the corn, as noted in this picture. Crows can do harm and they can do good. They are simply part of nature. They are fascinating creatures and are among the smartest and most adaptable birds on earth. Caw, caw, caw. And here's the author's note. I'm not going to read it, but I am going to slowly scan where you could possibly read it. Good information about crows. And that's the book, Crows, Strange and Wonderful by Laurence Pringle.